Former President Goodluck Jonathan replies VP Osinbajo on issues of corruption under his administration and sharing of money. He says it is a lie. And it looks so much that the legal battle over the sequence of election and the Amendment Act has begun in the courtroom. Heavyweights in the legal profession converge on the court premises today. Many thanks for joining in, everyone. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbale in Lagos. What an interesting time in our politics. Let's begin with what may be a very big reaction from a former President Goodluck Jonathan. Vice President Professor Osinbajo said that former President Goodluck Jonathan's administration spent only about $153 billion on infrastructure in the 3 years preceding 2014. $150 billion was shared in just 2 weeks before 2015 elections. Those are the claims. Well, listening to the Vice President when he made a statement at the 7th Presidential Quarterly Business Forum for Private Sector Stakeholders at the State House Conference Center in Abuja.
Oil prices were at an average of $110 a barrel, and only 99 billion naira was spent on power works and housing. Only 99 billion. And in one day, 100 billion naira was issued. And people essentially shared it. And 99 billion was spent on power works and housing. And when we talk about our economy, we talk about it as if it is the normal. It's not that's abnormal. I'm not saying that corruption under this administration has been completely dealt with. No, I mean, certainly not. Where corruption has become systematic, such as we have in our country today, you can't deal with it in one fell swoop. It's not possible.
Well, these are weighty allegations, and of course, those being alleged are now fired back. An ex-aide to former President Goodluck Jonathan, Mr. Reno Omokri, says a statement credited to Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is false. He said that in a strongly worded statement he issued earlier. Reno Omokri joins us now from the United States to give his own side of the story as he speaks on behalf of the former President Goodluck Jonathan. Many thanks, Mr. Omokri, for joining us on the program tonight. If you may, where exactly are you speaking from? I understand maybe Florida, isn't it?
No, I'm speaking from my house in California.
Oh, California. Many thanks. So what exactly is your reaction? Are you saying there were no corruption under former President Goodluck Jonathan, as some of these issues have been reviewed over the last few months after he left office?
That's not what I'm saying. Every human institution has corruption. But the Muhammadu Buhari administration has said that they are fighting corruption. If that is true, how come Nigeria made her best improvement in Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index in 2014 under President Goodluck Jonathan, when we moved 8 places forward from 142 to 136? And then how come Nigeria has made her worst ever, now listen to those words, worst ever performance in the Transparency International Corruption Perception Index under President Muhammadu Buhari, when this year we have moved 12 places backward from 136 to 148. Look, this administration is corrupt through and through. They've not told you who brought back Minor, reinstated him and gave him double promotion in the civil service. They've not told you what happened to the $25 billion that was spent in contracts without due process at the NAPC, as revealed in a leaked memo from the Minister of State for Petroleum. This administration has not even told you who owns the $44 million that were found in the Ikoyi apartment flat. There was a sworn evidence given by the Acting Director General of the NIA saying that people in this administration, in the presidency, were putting pressure on him to share those funds. Now, the allegations that the vice president has made are completely false, saying that 143 billion was spent on capital expenditure in 3 years under Jonathan. That is a big lie.
So what would be the figure if you tell us? What are the figures?
I'm going to give you the figure. I'll give you the figure. In that particular year, in 2014, 1.2 trillion naira was spent on capital expenditure. Don't forget that at that time, naira was 150 naira to $1. As a matter of fact, the most expensive project ever done in Nigeria in the last 20 years is the Abuja-Kaduna Railway, built at a cost of $1.2 billion US dollars. That project was built and finished by the Jonathan administration. So if you're saying that the Jonathan administration spent 153 billion on capital expenditure, even that project alone is more than that amount of money.
But that project was not, you're talking about a project that was started and was not concluded. So is that what you're making reference to? Because that project, as I know, did not even start under President Jonathan. It started in the preceding administration before his.
The project did not start under President Jonathan. It was in conception stage in the previous administration. Its actual construction started under President Jonathan, and it finished in December 2014. The whole project was finished in December 2014. It was completely done. What Muhammadu Buhari did was commission it. And if you go and read the speech he gave when he commissioned it, he actually admitted that this was a project from the previous administration. But that is just one project. The Jonathan administration built 14 universities, including the only federal university in President Muhammadu Buhari's own state of Katsina. The Jonathan administration also did the total radar coverage of Nigeria project, TRACON. There are several projects that the Jonathan administration did. That administration spent over $10 billion on capital expenditure between May 6, 2010 and May 29, 2015. So what the Vice President has just said is just false.
Let's put some perspective to this matter, Mr. Omokri. Okay. There are issues and allegations, claims of the fact that monies were being distributed for elections. True or false?
False. I said it in the statement that they are false. The Vice President...
You're saying, just a moment, let's put the issue. Are you saying no money or monies were not distributed for elections in 2015 under the Jonathan administration when it was seeking re-election?
Under the Jonathan administration, both the APC and the PDP shared money. You've not answered the question. You're trying to. The question, Mr. Omokri, is: did the Jonathan party or government share money for election? True or false? No, false. I've said that they were false. And please.
But you just said that both the parties shared money. Isn't that what you just said?
Will you allow me answer the question? Don't put words into my mouth. I know you're intelligent, but I'm also intelligent. I'm able to speak for myself. The parties, the PDP and the APC, they both shared money to their agents. It's allowed under the Electoral Act. You got to give money to your agents, like to move from point A to point B. Now, if they're talking about those funds were audited and were provided to INEC. But both parties did it, the PDP and the APC. But the Jonathan administration did not share 150 billion naira or any amount of money. Now, the Vice President is a professor of law. I also schooled in England. I read law. There is a statement in law. There's a principle that he who alleges must prove. Now, I'm challenging the Vice President that if this is true, he's in office, he's got the police, he's got the DSS, he's got the NIA. I encourage him to give proof of his allegations. And I know that he can't do so because he has lied.
Mr. Omokri, well said, though. Let's anchor on this, and quickly, though. There are people who have entered into plea bargain over issues of allegations relating to the elections of 2015 and what the activities they played and the role they played under the Jonathan party and on behalf of former President Jonathan. These are issues out there. So are you saying that those who have pleaded entered into a plea bargain are saying false, or they're not saying the truth?
Listen, I deal in facts. I don't deal in fiction. I don't deal in speculation. That's why my book became a #1 bestseller. What you have just said is false. There has been not one person who has entered into a plea bargain with regards to the 2015 election and saying that they did so under President Jonathan. That's not true. You have had people who were involved in corruption, personal corruption, and they've entered into plea bargain. It did not have to do with the 2014 election. Now, if you're saying that you had people who entered into plea bargain from the 2015 election, now we are here in front of about maybe 50 million Nigerians. I encourage you, Shehu, to name one person who did that.
All right, because we're out of time, we'll probably do this some other time. We'll bring you so that we can have this debate, perhaps with the other side. But tonight is not a good time. Thank you so much, Mr. Reno Omokri, for your time on the program today. Indeed, we appreciate that.